You're listening to This Is My Side Hustle. The tips, tools, and advice you need to optimize your life live here. If you're looking to unlock the secrets to additional income by engineering your choices around your ideal lifestyle, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and join us as we unpack unconventional ideas and methods to give you more freedom and flexibility. Let's escape the rat race together and live with intention. Let's learn how others are making it pay with their side hustles. In case you didn't know, Pinterest and Instagram are the best affiliate marketing tools and ways to drive traffic to your website. But did you also know that Tailwind is the only approved Pinterest scheduling tool? That's right, the only one. So Tailwind tracked their users, and here's what they found.
Tailwind users get 6.9 times more saves generated.
Tailwind users get 3.7 times more followers added.
And Tailwind users get 4.2 times more pins published.
PinFaster has the best times for engagement with Tailwind.
That's right. So visit makingitpaytostay.com/Tailwind and schedule all of your social media marketing posts on Tailwind and Instagram, where all of the younger people are hanging out. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of This Is My Side Hustle. Today I'm going to be talking about social media marketing for your small business, but if you just listened to the previous commercial, you probably heard my two daughters making their podcast commercial debut for Tailwind. And I will be talking a little bit about Tailwind in this episode and how you can use it for better engagement on Pinterest and Instagram. I almost said Pinstagram. But Tailwind is a great tool, so definitely go check that out. But I wanted to give you a few updates on what's been going on. My last podcast, I talked a little bit about our recent trip to Tennessee and how we were going to Wisconsin for nationals for the YMCA gymnastics program that both of my daughters, which you heard, participate in. Well, we've had some major changes in the last week. We got back from Wisconsin after doing nationals, and while we were there, my oldest daughter was texting with one of her friends and former teammates who just went to a new gym. And this girl was really close with both of my girls, and she went to a new private gym and had nothing but the best things to say. So I conceded and signed my girls up for an open gym there. Well, of course, they were talking back and forth the entire week, and this girl who went to the new gym told my girls that she had gotten like 5 new skills just in the week or two that she's been there, and she was really excited and she loved it so much, and was basically telling our girls we should go there. So we checked it out, and they invited us to come for a practice, and they did really well. My girls did really well, and the coach said that they really should be in a private gym. They're really talented. They've got a lot of skills that higher levels have, and as much as we loved the Y and love our experience with them and the coaches and the parents and everything, it's hard to do some really advanced things at the Y because you don't have one-on-one attention from coaches, and you don't have some of the equipment that you have in a private gym. So I was convinced. I, of course, had to look at the price differences because private gyms are a lot more expensive than YMCA gymnastics programs. But when I looked at the costs, the upfront costs looked to be more at the private gym, a lot more. But when I figured out all of our travel costs, the hotel meets or the hotel stays we would have to stay at for every single traveling meet, which I believe there's 8 of them, plus states and championships and nationals, and just all of the other little things involved, all of the time I put in for the why, because a lot of the parents are extremely involved at the why in order to make things run smoothly, which is perfectly fine and expected for a nonprofit. That's what it's there for. And I spent a lot of time in meetings, a lot of time at meets and setting up for meets and tearing down meets, a lot of time on the website that I was doing for the gym, and of course 8 weekends with 2 hotel nights in the middle of nowhere, driving 3 hours to every meet it's a lot. It's a lot of time. So when I figured out all my gas costs, my time invested, and how hard it is for me to take my 2 girls to all of these things all the time, all season long, when my husband's working or he possibly can't come. And we have a dog, so if my husband did come with us, then we have to board the dog. It was actually about the same cost. So they're moving to a new gym. I am really excited about it. I know they are. They are really, really excited. We have to tell our coaches at the Y, though, that we're going to be leaving, and I'm so sick to my stomach about it because I feel like they're family. We've been with them for a really long time. We knew them before my girls even did gymnastics because my sister did gymnastics at the Y. We've known them for such a long time. I'm really close with all the parents. I love all the girls, but my girls wanted to move on. And the awesome thing about this new gym is it's 5 minutes from our house. It's really close. They have all kinds of fantastic equipment. They only do 6 meets, 3 of which are travel ones that will require a hotel stay. The other 3 are local to Pittsburgh. So I won't be driving to the Allegheny National Forest 8 times a year, pretty much, which I'm really, really excited about. I won't have to set up for meets and help host meets and all of that. And I don't want to complain, but it was a huge time investment with the Y. So I'd rather spend a little more money and have more time. It's kind of one of those things where you need to put a value on your hours because you're never going to get that back. You can always make more money, but we feel really excited about this, and my girls are really excited, but it's definitely going to be a transition. They are going from 9 hours a week to my youngest will be doing 12 hours a week now, and my oldest will be doing 16 hours a week. So it's a huge jump in practice time, but I know with the more individualized attention, and I know with the much more intense practice schedules and just overall facility of the new gym, that they're going to progress a lot more. So I'm excited to see what this year holds for them. But I just want to go ahead now and refocus. Let's get back to the topic at hand. I always do like to give you guys a little insight into my personal life. I feel like it makes it more relatable. You can hear some of the wins and the struggles that we go through as a work-at-home mom who's working and has kids, and how we manage a work-life balance and all of that. So I do like to let you in on that. But let's get back to the social media marketing for your small business, because there's a lot to go over here, and I want to hit on all of the things that you really need to know to be successful. So let's start with Twitter. Twitter is one of the oldest social media platforms. I mean, Facebook was around for quite a while, but it wasn't really intended at the beginning to be how it's used now for small businesses. So let's get back to Twitter. Twitter obviously used to have a limit of 140 characters. So you could only put 140 characters in, including any hashtags and links. But recently, last year, I believe, or the year before, they increased the total character count to 280. So what's surprising about that, though, even after several months of launching the longer tweets, only 5% of users exceeded the 140 characters, and only 2% exceeded 190. So because most people aren't doing longer tweets, it's still kind of considered best practices to stick with anywhere between 120 and 130 characters as the optimum amount for maximum engagement on Twitter. So some ways you can do Twitter with your business. Of course, if you have a business that would require responding to customer service requests online, let's say somebody was dissatisfied with your business and they went and tweeted about it, or they complained and tagged you on Twitter. Twitter's great for responding to that in a public way that would be beneficial for your brand. And you can always tell them to DM you if it gets ugly, but Twitter is great for like a quick response or keeping track of your reputation online. You can do roundup tweets of industry news and provide multiple links with a few hashtags if you think something's interesting. Twitter is not the place to put things that you want to stick around for a long time. It's a very ADD type of a platform. And what I mean by that is people get on, they scroll through their feed real quick. They might search for a hashtag or two, but they're really not looking at all of your tweets and all of your feed unless you're super famous or a well-known brand. They're getting on there, they're scrolling through a little bit, seeing if there's any updates, and they're moving on. So people do not really pay attention on Twitter for very long. You could do a list post. They do well for blogs. They also do well for Twitter. So you could have a top 10 list of the best social media platforms to post on, or the top 10 ice cream flavors, or whatever. Everyone loves a quick list, and you can schedule these in advance through Buffer or Hootsuite or anything like that. Or you could just get on there and do a quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of a list. Humor is used very effectively on Twitter, whether it's sarcasm or puns. That definitely does really well. A quick little blurb with a couple emojis, maybe a hashtag or tagging someone else or retweeting something or replying to their tweets. That does really well. So when running your small business, if you're on Twitter and you see something that's really relevant to your audience as well, you can retweet it and retweet something that you've seen and say, hey, thanks for the tip. I know my audience would love this, or great job, love this, or anything quick, short, sweet, and to the point. For Twitter is the one platform where you can basically spam and post a whole lot, because people aren't on there all the time, and people get on for a couple minutes and then they get off of Twitter. They might get notifications, but they're not spending a lot of time seeing stuff. You don't want to post multiple times per day on something like Instagram, but it's totally okay to do on Facebook for your business. Now let's move on to Facebook. Okay, so this year Facebook updated the news feed. It's basically to prioritize content that sparked authentic conversations and meaningful connections. So that also means business pages were suffering in performance, especially if you're just posting an update with no questions attached to it. And I have to say, with my own business account, I'm not great at doing this, mainly because I haven't really been on Facebook a lot lately, and I don't want to be. So my main purpose for posting to Facebook is just to give any of my followers updates about a new blog post or a new podcast episode, or to share with them an article here and there. I don't really want to be on Facebook answering questions and engaging with people lately. I think it's because I'm burned out about it, but it does work really well. So if you have a social media manager, and this is part of what I do through my virtual assistant business, is I interact with pages and customer comments and invite them to like the page and things like that. I just don't want to do it for myself. And I don't know why, but it does work well when you're getting people engaged. That's really what you want to be doing. So you don't want to constantly be self-promoting. Video does really well. Live video does really well on Facebook still. Saying things like share this post or tag 5 friends or comment with your favorite, that does really well. Posts that naturally elicit meaningful conversations like local news and events. If you have a small local business, a brick and mortar business, then something like sharing the latest heartwarming news story from your small town would do very well. Images without outbound links actually do better than images with outbound links. Now, of course, if you put an outbound link in Facebook, it will auto-populate generally an image from that link. But if you just put a meme or something like that your audience would find funny, or a quick sarcastic pun with an image with no link, that does really well also. So Facebook organic post best practices. Let's go over some of that. The ideal length for a Facebook post is 1 to 80 characters. So surprisingly, 40 characters or less receive the higher engagement when people are reading things. So I need to take this into consideration for my own business. I do follow this for the businesses I work with. I try to keep it short and sweet because for some reason, I guess people also don't pay much attention. They don't want to read a lengthy Facebook post. Now, last year and the year before, people were really doing long blog type Facebook posts, and that does work sometimes in a Facebook group, but just for a page, keep it short and sweet. The image size that you can use now, I've found a lot of people now are using Instagram sized images on Facebook as well, which makes it really easy because then you don't have to resize all your images in something like Canva. You can use the same exact image, so it saves time. The ideal image for Instagram and Facebook now is 1080 by 1080 pixels. And the ideal video length, if you're doing videos, is 3 to 5 minutes. So that tends to get the most engagement on Facebook, is something that's 3 to 5 minutes long. Don't use hashtags on Facebook except for visual emphasis. So if you want to hashtag something that's maybe sarcastic or funny, you could put a hashtag there in your post or on the image. You could put a hashtag not funny or sorry, not sorry, something like that on your image or in the post. But other than that, do not use hashtags on Facebook. Do not repost your post from Instagram with 30 hashtags on it on Facebook, because people know you're just reposting from Instagram, and hashtags really do nothing on Facebook anymore. Avoid clickbait or engagement bait language, click or share this with your friends or you'll have bad luck for the next 7 days. Don't be that person. Don't do that. Or share this if you agree, and then you share an image and then other people feel like they're supposed to do that. That really doesn't go over well, so don't do things like that. And again, just wrapping up, posts. Oh, I missed one. I'm sorry here. Posts with video see up to 58% more engagement. So maybe a video that's 3 minutes long with a question, a short and sweet question, that's going to do really well on Facebook because you're asking a question, you're getting people engaged, and you're having a video with it as well, which people tend to watch. Now, for paid ads on Facebook, and this pretty much goes with Instagram as well, the ideal status for text length is 90 characters. The ideal headline length for your ad should be 25 characters. The description length should be about 30 characters, up to 200 characters, but ideally it's 30. So short, sweet, to the point. Again, don't go on and on in your Facebook ad. The ideal video length for an ad is 5 to 15 seconds. So you really need to get your point across quickly. Make it fun, make it engaging, or use emotion. It could be sad, it could be anger or whatever. You have to be really careful about what you say in Facebook ads because they will decline anything that sounds like you're making fun of someone, even if you're not. They don't understand. The algorithms will just take it away. You can get it manually reviewed, but you really have to be careful about what you say. You can't even say something like, "Are you sick of your job?" You can't say that because you're making somebody feel bad about it, or at least Facebook thinks you're doing that. So you've got to be careful about what you say. The image is seen first, so grab their attention with a great image. You can hook them with stats or fear of missing out, FOMO, in the headline, but like I said, be careful about how you word that. Add value or social proof in the status, and create a sense of urgency with deadlines or offers in the link description, and be sure to include a clear call to action. Okay, so again, you want to grab someone's attention, point out how you're going to solve a pain problem, but don't point out their pain problem. Tell them how great your offer is and tell them what to do. Are you going to say, click here or learn more or get a quote? Whatever you say in the call to action, make it clear and make it relevant. Let's move on to LinkedIn posts best practices. So organic posts in LinkedIn, there is a different image size that does best on LinkedIn, and that's 1200 by 628 pixels. So 1200 pixels wide by 628 pixels high. The ideal length for business to businesses is 75 to 125 characters. And for business to consumers, it's 100 to 125. So if you remember 100 characters, that's the ideal length for the text in a LinkedIn post. The maximum length for a LinkedIn post is 1,300 characters, which is well above the ideal length, so just stick with a shorter length. It seems to do best for pretty much every single social media platform. The ideal video length, if you're going to do a video, is 60 seconds, but make an impact in the first couple of seconds, because people on LinkedIn are not going to watch your video for long if it's not grabbing their attention right away. You also have to be careful about the video size on LinkedIn. The ideal video size is 1920 by 1080 pixels. So again, it's a wide rectangle. And using numbers in LinkedIn has no positive or negative effect on clicks. Avoid question marks. For some reason, people aren't as likely to answer an engaging post on LinkedIn. They're more on LinkedIn for news updates or status updates. Business to business receives 25% fewer clicks, and business to consumers receive 45% fewer clicks. So think about marketing to other people in your industry on LinkedIn, not to your perhaps target audience, unless of course your target audience is other businesses or business owners. Exclamation points actually do well. So question marks aren't good, but exclamation points result in 26% increase in clicks for business to business and 27% increase in clicks for business to consumers. So you could say something like, "So excited for our new product line," exclamation mark, and a video that grabs their attention. That's 30 seconds long, but grabs their attention right away. Keep that in mind for LinkedIn. And if your small business doesn't really post things like that, you don't need to be on there all the time. You could post on your personal profile if it makes sense, if you're a consultant or something like that. That's actually what I do. I post on my personal profile. I don't ever really post from my company page because I don't have people following my company page, but I have hundreds and hundreds of connections on LinkedIn. And those are the people that I want to talk to. Those are the people I want to network with. So I'm not putting it on my company page. I'm putting it on my personal profile. Sponsored posts or ads for LinkedIn, it's pretty much the same as the regular posts. There's a few differences. If you have text like a title on an image or a video, you need to have it a little smaller, at least where the text is. So you don't want your text to go outside of a 1000 by 586 pixel size. You want to keep it inside the square, so you would want to put it right in the middle if you have a title or some kind of text on your image or video. Make sure you optimize for mobile because it accounts for 70% of clicks on sponsored content. So if you're running an ad, make sure you do that and you run it by on your mobile device. Make sure you can see everything. If it's screwed up, people aren't going to click on it. Make sure you grab your attention right away, hook them with stats or FOMO in the headline, and add value or social proof in the status, and include a strong CTA. So pretty much every single thing that goes along with Facebook ads is the same type of thing you want to use on LinkedIn. And remember, keep it mobile friendly. All right, let's move on to Pinterest now. As you heard at the beginning of this episode, Pinterest is a great, sorry, brain fart here, a great place to promote your business, but don't consider it a social media platform. It's actually a search engine. So people aren't going onto Pinterest to interact with each other and create engagement. They're going onto Pinterest to find something that they want to do, they want to make, they want to save. Well, you've probably been on Pinterest. You're not going on there to interact with your friends. You're going on there to find content or find images that you want to somehow replicate or you want to save for later. Party tips, things like that, recipes. That does really, really well on Pinterest. And the only Pinterest approved scheduling tool you can use is Tailwind. And Tailwind does definitely, and I've seen it from personal experience because I use Tailwind, increase engagement, increase followers. There's so many cool things you can do with Tailwind. Go to makingitpaytostay.com/Tailwind and check it out. It's well worth the price if you're on Pinterest and you're a business to use Tailwind. It's great to be able to pin a lot of things all at once and batch process and schedule them on Pinterest. And you're going to probably not like this, but it is true. You should ideally have 5 to 30 pins scheduled throughout each and every day, which is incredibly time intensive. So if you're a business owner and you want to be on Pinterest and you know Pinterest is going to be a great strategy for you, reach out to a virtual assistant like myself or anybody else who can create the pins for you, schedule them all for you. That's a huge workload, but it's definitely well worth it. It increases the traffic to my blog a lot. Pinterest is probably the number one platform I use to get traffic to my website and brand awareness. I have, I believe, 65,000 views on my pins every single month, which you're never going to see. I mean, you would see that maybe on Instagram if you're huge, but for a small business like me, for a podcaster, a blogger, and a virtual assistant to get that many views is practically unheard of anywhere else. So it's definitely worth it. The types of pins you should use are article pins. So you would include the headline, the author, the story description, and link. Product pins are huge. So if you include real-time pricing, availability, and where to buy on the pin of something, you'll definitely get more engagement from that. Recipe pins that include the ingredients, cooking times, and serving info do great. Movie pins. So if you like a movie and it's relevant to your audience and you are perhaps talking on a podcast about a movie or a documentary or something like that, and you want them to go check it out and then you're going to review it. So include the ratings and cast members and other people's reviews. And place pins if you have your own local business or you want to do a roundup of other local businesses in your town and include yourself. Include an address, phone number, and a map. The ideal size for Pinterest is a 2-to-3 ratio with a minimum width of 600 pixels. So think 600 pixels by 900 pixels. So 600 wide, 900 long. Think a long rectangle. The ideal description length is 75 to 150 characters, and the max description length is 500. But longer descriptions receive less engagement, but they're valuable for SEO. on Pinterest, which could extend the life of the pin. So keep that in mind. You might want to use a longer description in any of your pins that would be evergreen content, but definitely shorter descriptions in something that's time sensitive. So what you should include are helpful details, keywords, 1 to 2 sentences in length, a positive sentiment like can't wait to try this or this helped me out so much, a call to action, and a link that goes directly to that article. So if you're in Tailwind and you're scheduling something, it's just going to go to your main domain name. So if I go to schedule something in Tailwind, it automatically defaults to makingitpaytostay.com. It doesn't have the exact URL of the blog post or of the podcast post unless I put it in there. So remember to put it in there because people want to be able to follow your pin and get exactly where they want to go. They don't want to just go to your homepage. So definitely keep that in mind. Hashtags actually are doing better now on Pinterest. Don't use lots of symbols or exaggerated claims or click here to pin because obviously that's what people are going to do. So just leave that out. Make sure you have boards that showcase the different categories of what your business is representing. If you have, let's say you have a food blog and you have different recipes, you would probably want to do a board for every kind of recipe, just like in a cookbook. So you would have an appetizers board and a breakfast recipes board and a quick and healthy lunches board, things like that. Beverages, anything that is a different category, that's how you want to create your boards, and then make sure you pin to those boards appropriately. So for promoted pins, Pinterest is the one platform where vertical images do perform better. So make sure that when you're doing a promoted pin, you have it in that 600 by 900 pixels ratio or the 1 to 3 ratio, or 2 to 3, I'm sorry. And keep your promoted pins geared toward audiences with relevant interests. So, for example, don't promote a pin about gardening to an interior decorating audience. Don't promote a pin about fried food to a fitness fanatic blog or a vegan blog. Like, don't promote fried chicken to vegans, basically. So obviously keep that in mind. That kind of goes without saying. Always include a call to action, but don't yell it or include exaggerated claims like lose weight now. The call to action should be kept to 1 or 2 keyword-rich sentences with a positive statement. Okay? So those are the main things for social media marketing, best practices for your small business. I think that's about it. I would love to delve into each of these even deeper, talking more about when to post, where people hang out as far as age groups and demographics, how often to post on each platform, but I'm running out of time and I don't want this to be a super long podcast. So I'm going to stop for now, and I just want to encourage you all to please like, rate, review, subscribe, share. You can also be on the podcast if you go to makingitpaytostay.com/voicemail. You can leave me a message. There's a link there where you can apply to be a guest on the show. So if you have any kind of business tips, any kind of side hustle tips, any ways that you save money or make more money, I would totally love to hear them. Keep in mind the whole thing I talked about before. Value your time, put a price on your time, and don't spend hours and hours trying to save money if you're never going to get those hours and hours back. Definitely be frugal, definitely be wise in your choices, and don't waste money, but sometimes it's worth spending a little more to have more time for the things that are really important to you. All right, guys, until next time, this is my side hustle.